What if the person you once loved became a billionaire and the world decided you no longer belong together? This is a story about love, class, second chances, and what happens when the heart refuses to upgrade with money. Sit tight. This one will touch your heart and make you laugh small. If this story moved you even a little, don't keep it to yourself. Tap the like button so I know you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more romantic, emotional, and funny stories like this one. And drop a comment. Should James follow his heart or listen to his parents? More stories coming your way. Don't miss the next one. Lagos traffic had decided to misbehave that afternoon. Horns were screaming like they were being paid by noise. Danfo drivers were arguing with pedestrians. And the sky conked into one of those dramatic gray moods that meant rain was loading, slowly. Inside a sleek black SUV, James Adebayo leaned back against soft leather seats that cost more than most people's rent for a year. His phone buzzed with emails from 3 continents. Someone wanted a signature. Someone wanted a meeting. Someone wanted his money. He wanted 5 minutes of silence. "Sir, we're almost at the office," the driver said, adjusting his mirror. James nodded absently, eyes fixed on the world outside his tinted window. Vendors darted between cars. A boy with gala in one hand and pure water in the other knocked on glass like opportunity itself. A woman balanced oranges on her head like life had never tried to knock her down before. Then he saw her. She stood near the traffic light on Victoria Island, her dress too thin for the weather, her slippers worn down to surrender. Rain had started its slow, annoying drizzle. She clutched a nylon bag to her chest, like it carried her entire life inside. A beg. Anything for God's sake. James didn't even know why he was looking. He had seen beggars before. Every day, in fact. Lagos came with them like a feature, not a bug. You learned to look away, not because you were wicked, but because your heart couldn't carry everybody. But this face had history. She raised her head, and time tripped. Ifunanya, the name hit him like a slap he wasn't prepared for. Memories rose without permission. 2 barefoot kids running through red dust in Ibadan, mango juice dripping down their wrists, her laugh when he fell from a tree and swore he was fine even though his knee was bleeding like drama. "You'll be rich one day," she had teased him back then, "and you'll forget me." He had laughed. Now the joke had grown teeth. "Sir," the driver said softly, "should I move?" James didn't answer. The rain picked up, tapping lightly on the windshield, blurring her figure for a second. In that blur, she looked like a ghost of who she used to be. Then the rain cleared, and there she was again, real, tired, and begging. His chest tightened in a way money had never fixed. "Park," he said suddenly. The driver hesitated. "Here?" "Yes, park, before I change my mind." The SUV eased to the side of the road. Horns protested. Lagos complained. James opened the door and stepped into the rain, ignoring the shocked look on his security detail. As he approached, Ifunanya was speaking to another driver who shook his head and rolled up his window. She turned and saw James. Her eyes widened, not in recognition at first, more like she was trying to place a dream she had once owned and lost. "James?" she whispered, unsure. He swallowed. "Hi, Ifunanya." For a moment, neither of them moved. Traffic roared around them. 2 worlds stood face to face at a red light. She laughed nervously. "God, you people resemble people, Shah. I thought you were someone I used to know." James smiled, but it hurt small. "I am someone you used to know." Her smile froze. The nylon bag slipped from her fingers, and in that moment, James Adebayo realized that no matter how high he had climbed, the past still knew how to find him in traffic. Ifunanya sat in the back of the SUV like someone who had accidentally entered a music video. She kept her hands on her lap, afraid to touch anything. The leather seats looked expensive enough to report her to the police if she sneezed wrongly. The car moved in soft silence, the kind that made you feel like even the engine had manners. "So," she cleared her throat, "you're rich now?" James glanced at her. "Define rich." She waved her hand. "The kind of rich that your car doesn't make noise when it's angry," he laughed. "Fair." She peered at the tiny fridge between the seats. Is that water inside your car? Yes. Not pure water, still water. She sucked her teeth. Your water has gone to school. James tried not to stare at how thin she looked. The Ifunanya he remembered used to argue with him over the biggest piece of meat in soup. This one looked like life had been winning arguments lately. When the gates of the high-rise opened, her mouth opened with them. This place is where rich people stack themselves on top of each other? She asked. It's called a luxury apartment, James said. We stack in comfort. The elevator ride felt longer than it was because Ifunanya kept gasping at the mirror walls. See me? I look like I belong here, small, she joked, then paused. No, I don't. The doors opened into James's penthouse, and Ifunanya forgot how to breathe. The living room stretched wide, warm lights glowing against carved wooden panels with subtle adire patterns. Earth-tone walls made the space feel calm, not cold. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed Lagos like a painting. Abstract art inspired by Benin bronzes hung quietly, minding their business. Even the air smelled expensive. She stepped in slowly, then removed her slippers and held them in her hand. Oga, your house is too clean. I'll dirty it by mistake. James raised an eyebrow. This house is not a shrine. Sit down. She sat on the edge of the massive sofa like it might collapse under her village energy. You live here alone? She asked. Mostly. Sometimes my parents visit and rearrange my life. She laughed. Parents are consistent. James signaled to the kitchen. You hungry? Ifunanya nodded quickly, then tried to be classy about it. I mean, a little. The private chef appeared like magic. Madam, what would you like to eat? Ifunanya almost stood up to greet him properly. Ah, good evening, sir. Anything you bring is fine. I don't know the menu of rich people. James ordered jollof rice and grilled chicken. Ifunanya whispered, Bless you, like he had just saved her life. When the food arrived, she ate with careful joy, like someone who didn't trust abundance yet. So, James said gently, how did you end up on the street? She shrugged. Life. One bad decision holding another bad decision's hand. He waited. My mother died. My aunt's house became too small for my problems. I came to Lagos to hustle. James looked away, jaw tight. I'm sorry, he said quietly. She smiled, small but brave. Don't pity me too much. I'm still standing, even if I'm standing at traffic lights. Silence settled between them. Not awkward, just heavy with memory. You remember when we used to fetch water together? She said suddenly, and your bucket always had holes? James groaned. That bucket traumatized me. My childhood was a scam. She laughed, loud and free. You cried that day. Big Boy was crying. I was 8, and dramatic. They laughed until the room felt warmer. Later, when she wandered to the window, staring at the Lagos skyline, her voice softened. This city is beautiful from here, she said. Down there, it's just stress. James joined her. Stay tonight, he said carefully. There's a guest room, no pressure, no funny business. Just don't go back to the street today. She turned to him, eyes wary. Why are you doing this? He searched for the simplest truth. Because you're not a stranger, and because I don't want my past sleeping under rain. She nodded slowly. Okay, she said, but if your house ghosts chase me, I'm going back to traffic. James smiled. Fair deal. As if Ananya walked into the guest room, touching the walls like they might vanish, James leaned against the doorframe of his own room, heart loud in his chest. He had brought her into his world for one night. He didn't yet know that his world was about to change too. Visits announced themselves through silence. The penthouse, which normally felt like a warm, lived-in space, suddenly went stiff the moment she walked in, as if the carved wooden panels straightened their backs and the abstract art decided to behave. Ifunanya felt it immediately. She had just finished helping the housekeeper arrange flowers when the elevator doors opened and 2 well-dressed people stepped out like they owned the air. His mother, elegant in a cream-toned lace outfit that whispered money. His father, calm, neat, with the posture of a man who had never begged for anything in his life. Ifunanya froze. James stood up. Mom, Dad, I wasn't expecting you. His mother's eyes swept the room, then landed on Ifunanya. And I wasn't expecting company. Ifunanya swallowed and greeted them properly. "Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma." His mother smiled politely, the kind of smile that didn't enter her eyes. "And you are?" "Ifunanya, ma." A pause. "Lovely name," his mother said, which somehow sounded like a background check. They sat. The air became expensive and uncomfortable. His father spoke first. "James, we heard you picked someone from the roadside." Ifunanya's stomach dropped. James stiffened. "Dad, that's not—" "It's fine," Ifunanya said quickly, forcing a small smile. "It's true, sir. That's where he met me." His mother's eyebrows rose. "You see? She's honest." Honest didn't sound like a compliment. They spoke about business first. Stocks, expansion, meetings. Things Ifunanya didn't understand, but nodded at like a responsible audience. Then his mother folded her hands. "James," she said softly, "we appreciate your kindness, truly. Helping someone in need is admirable." Ifunanya's chest tightened at the word helping. "But," she continued, "you must understand that not everyone you rescue should live in your home." James's jaw clenched. "She's not a rescue project. She's a person." His father's tone remained calm. "We are not saying she's less than human. We're saying your worlds are not the same." Ifunanya stood up before the silence swallowed her dignity. "I understand, sir." "Ma," she said gently, "I'm not here to cause trouble. I'll leave." James turned sharply. "No. Sit down." She looked at him, eyes shiny. "James, don't fight your parents because of me. I'm not worth family quarrel." He shook his head. "Don't decide your worth based on other people's comfort." His mother studied Ifunanya more closely now, not as a problem, but as a person. "And what do you want, Ifunanya?" she asked. Ifunanya hesitated. Then, honesty rose. "I want to work," she said. "I don't want to be anyone's charity case. I just want a chance to stand properly again." Silence. His father nodded slowly. "That is respectable." His mother sighed. "James, if you must involve her in your life, at least give her structure. Let her work in your company. Let her earn her place in this world." Ifunanya blinked. "Your company? Me?" James looked between them, then at her. "That's actually what I wanted to suggest." His mother raised an eyebrow. "Don't get carried away. This is not romance. This is responsibility." James smiled thinly. "Sometimes responsibility looks like romance to people who are afraid of it." His father cleared his throat. "Be careful, son. The heart is not a department you can manage with money." His mother stood. "We'll see how this goes. But remember, things have changed. Love does not survive every upgrade." As the elevator doors closed behind them, the penthouse exhaled. Ifunanya sat down slowly. "Your parents don't like me." James dropped onto the sofa beside her. "They don't know you yet." She laughed softly. "They know my bank account." He smiled sadly. "That's their blind spot." She looked at him, eyes warm and unsure. "You're really stubborn, you know." He shrugged. "It's my best quality." And in that moment, Ifunanya realized this wasn't just about shelter or work anymore. Two worlds had collided, and neither was backing down. Ifunanya had prepared for this day like a warrior preparing for battle. She ironed her borrowed blazer twice, checked that her shoes didn't squeak, and practiced walking like someone who belonged to boardrooms instead of street corners. In reality, she looked like someone trying to wrestle a goat into a tutu. James walked her into the office, tall, confident, and silently amused by her nervousness. "First lesson," he whispered. "Try not to trip over the carpet. It's very expensive." "I'll try," she muttered, gripping the strap of her bag so hard her fingers hurt. As they entered, the receptionist blinked. "Sir, who is—" "Oh." James grinned. "This is Ifunanya. She's my new assistant." Ifunanya froze. "Assistant?" she whispered to him. "You mean secretary?" "Yes, secretary sounds so old school," he said, dragging her to his office. Her first hour was chaotic. She tried to open the coffee machine, spilled water all over the counter, and ended up with a mysterious brown stain on her sleeve. She almost sent an email meant for James's board to her cousin, containing a very embarrassing family joke. She didn't understand the printer, and at one point it looked like she had offended it because it refused to work. James walked in mid-chaos and just shook his head, laughing quietly. "Relax," he said. "You're officially part of my world now. Chaos included." "I think the chaos has a personal vendetta against me," she whispered. "It's not personal," James said, smiling. "It just recognizes greatness." By lunchtime, Ifunanya had accidentally offended 3 colleagues by misunderstanding their sarcasm. "You confuse me," she muttered under her breath. James leaned in. "You're not supposed to understand sarcasm immediately. Lagos people are trained in passive aggression since birth." She laughed, a full belly laugh that even the stuffy HR manager paused to admire. By the end of the day, something strange happened. She realized she had survived. Not just survived, she had spoken up in a meeting, made 2 valid suggestions, and even laughed at James's terrible boardroom joke. As they left the office, James looked at her. "See? Not bad for your first day." Ifunanya wiped her forehead. "I think my brain sent me a resignation letter, and it's asking for hazard pay." James laughed. "Good. I love hazard pay brains." They walked to the car, side by side, the Lagos sunset painting the skyscrapers in gold. "You know," she said softly, "I never thought a place like this could be mine." James glanced at her. "It's not yours yet." Her eyes met his, wide and curious. "But I want it to be," she said. He didn't answer immediately. He just smiled, the kind of smile that made Ifunanya's chest feel warm. And in that moment, James realized something dangerous. He was falling for her again. Not the girl who begged at traffic lights, but the girl who survived his world, laughed in his chaos, and made him forget everything else. The office buzzed, like Lagos on a Monday morning. Phones ringing, printers complaining, and people moving like they had somewhere more important than life itself. Ifunanya entered, blazer neatly adjusted, hair in place, trying to walk like someone who had always belonged here. Almost immediately a whisper hit her ear. "Who's the new assistant? Did you see her?" From traffic light to James Adebayo's office. She's ordinary." Ifunanya paused. Ordinary. That word stung a little, but she squared her shoulders. She wasn't here to impress anyone, except her own determination, and maybe James a little. James noticed the whispers, as he always did, from across the office. He leaned back in his chair, eyes on Ifunanya, and let a slow smile spread across his face. They think she doesn't belong? Perfect. Lesson 1. Office Survival 101. By mid-morning, Ifunanya had learned some interesting things about her colleagues. Some people would try to make her fail just to laugh at her mistakes. Some people would act friendly, but watch her every move like a hawk. And some couldn't hide their admiration. "Good morning, Ifunanya," said Ada, a manager who actually had her act together. "Need any help with the reports?" "Please," Ifunanya said with relief. "I need a map, a compass, and a translator." Ada laughed. "You'll survive." Not everyone was impressed. Gloria from HR eyed her like a cat that just smelled a stranger. "I hope you know what you're doing here." "I hope I survive too," Ifunanya whispered, loud enough for only James to hear when he walked past. The gossip begins. By lunchtime, whispers turned into soft conversations at the pantry. "She's too bold to be just an assistant. Do you see how James looks at her? Omo, I heard he brought her from nowhere." Ifunanya rolled her eyes. "Somebody get me out of this drama." James noticed, of course. He leaned toward her as they sat down together with sandwiches and juice. "They're talking," he said casually. "Of course they are," she replied. "I'm entertaining." "No," he said, voice low, teasing. "You're threatening." Ifunanya raised an eyebrow. "Threatening? You survived my world better than anyone expected," he said, a playful grin tugging at his lips. "That makes people nervous, especially ordinary people." She laughed. "So my crime is being me?" "Yes," he said, mock serious. "And I'm guilty too. I like it." Her heart skipped. She tried not to notice, but every time James spoke, every teasing word felt like lightning on her skin. Lunch sparks. By the end of lunch, Ifunanya had accidentally flirted more than she realized. She laughed too loud at James' jokes. She shared a childhood story that made him laugh until his stomach hurt, and she stared a little too long when he explained a business plan, caught up in the way he spoke about his empire with passion. When they returned to their desks, whispers were louder. "Did you see the way she laughed at him? Do you think? I can't believe he's being so casual with her." James smirked from his desk, knowing exactly what was being said. Heartbeats in the office. Later that day, Ifunanya worked on some reports, head bent over her laptop, trying to concentrate over the buzzing gossip around her. James walked past again, lightly brushing her shoulder as he passed. She shivered slightly. "Focus, Ifunanya," he whispered, leaning down, "or I'll have to give you extra work." She glared at him, but her lips twitched into a smile. "You just want to see me flustered." "Maybe," he admitted. "But maybe I just like seeing you alive, in my world." She looked up, caught his gaze, and for a second, the office disappeared. Whispers, gossip, jealous glances, none of it mattered. Only the two of them, standing on different sides of the same desk, worlds apart but inexplicably connected. And deep inside, Ifunanya realized something dangerous. She was falling, again. James was falling, again. And the office didn't stand a chance. The Lagos skyline glittered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of James's penthouse. The city hummed softly below, but inside, the air was charged with something warmer, something quieter, more urgent. Ifunanya sat on the edge of the sofa, nervously twisting her fingers. James approached slowly, his presence calm, commanding, yet gentle. "You look beautiful tonight," he said softly, his voice low enough that she felt it in her chest rather than just her ears. Ifunanya looked up, heart hammering. "I'm just me, that's the problem," James said with a smile. "You're too much just being you." She laughed nervously. "You make it sound like a crime." "No crime," he whispered, sitting beside her, "but it's dangerous." Her eyes widened. "Dangerous?" "Because," he said, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear, "I've spent years controlling my life, my heart, everything. But you," he didn't finish. He didn't have to. The space between them spoke louder than words. The moment between them. Ifunanya's hand trembled slightly as she reached for his. The warmth of his skin was electric. Every careful boundary she had maintained melted in that touch. "You don't have to be afraid," James whispered, leaning closer. His lips brushed hers, lightly at first, a question, a testing of the air between them. She closed her eyes. The memory of the past, the mangoes, the running through red dust, the promises of childhood flashed in her mind. And now, the present was here, soft and full and alive. Their kiss deepened naturally, a slow pull, a connection that had never truly broken. The room, the penthouse, the whole city seemed to fade until there was only each other. When they parted, their foreheads rested together. "I've missed you," James murmured. Ifunanya smiled against him. "I've missed us." Intimacy without words. They didn't rush. There were no distractions, no grand gestures, just hands exploring, fingers tracing, the quiet discovery of familiarity and desire. James tucked Ifunanya close on the sofa, arms wrapped protectively, as if holding her could erase all the years apart. She rested her head against his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. "You've changed, but somehow, you're still you," he said, voice husky. "I've been surviving," she whispered, "but with you, I feel like I can breathe again." He kissed her temple, then her hair, then held her tighter. Every touch was a promise, of protection, of desire, of love rediscovered. The city lights glimmered on the walls, reflecting softly across their faces. Outside, Lagos never slept, but inside, time slowed. There were no worries about status, gossip, or judgment. There was only them. Aftermath of love. Later they sat side by side, fingers intertwined, eyes meeting in quiet smiles. The tension of the world outside, the class differences, the gossip, it all felt distant, insignificant. James whispered, "I don't care what anyone says, you're mine, and I'll keep you in my world, if you let me." Ifunanya's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "I'm yours," she said softly, "I've always been." For the first time in years, two hearts beat in sync, strong, unashamed, unstoppable. And in that golden silence, in the glow of the Lagos skyline, they knew this was just the beginning. Just when James and Ifunanya finally let their hearts speak, the world outside is getting ready to interrupt their happiness. A secret from Ifunanya's past is about to surface. Someone in the office is watching them too closely, and James's parents are about to make a move that could change everything. In the next part, love will be tested, loyalty will be questioned, and one decision could tear them apart forever. If you're already rooting for James and Ifunanya, don't scroll past their story. Hit the like button to show love. Subscribe for more romantic, dramatic, and emotional episodes like this. And drop a comment. Do you think their love will survive the pressure or crash under it?